Shadow work is not about slaying the dragon, it's about befriending her. Imagine you're walking around in the dark. I need everything to be a visual, and I like medieval fantasy settings. So, this is how I came up with castle theory for my little mind castle. Imagine you're walking around in the dark in a cave and you're looking for treasure. And as you're stumbling around in the dark, you've got a torch and you come across a dragon's lair. And there are dragons and there's also treasure. Now, the ego wants to protect us from the dragons, but it can do this in a not so helpful way sometimes. And so it thinks, well, let's just extinguish the torch and that will mean the dragons don't exist anymore. But putting the torch out, does that make the dragons go away? No, they're just wandering around in the dark now and you don't know what they're doing. You also, because you've put the torch out, you can't find the treasure. So you now can't take the treasure back to the kingdom and trade with other kingdoms, decorate the throne room, whatever you want to do. And this I've found is like a really good visual for shadow work. Is thinking about it in this way, except the dragons that you find, they're not bad dragons. They've been ostracized. They've been rejected. Just like the dragon in Shrek. And she seems aggressive, she seems terrible, she seems scary, but no one's taken the time to just get to know her. And Donkey is the first one who has the courage to just sit with her and actually get to know her. And she turns out to be the most loyal, loving companion. And that's one way to look at shadow work. Is there's all kinds of things hiding in our shadows, jealousy, anger, things that we've been taught are bad traits, things that we are taught to be ashamed of, and so we hide them away. And this is why it's called the shadow, because it's hidden in the dark. And pardon me. So this can look like, let's say, jealousy, for example. Jealousy in relationships is a really common problem. If you struggle with jealousy, you could look at it and, again, light the torch. Don't avoid it. Light the torch. There's not something to be ashamed of, something to be aware of. So when you light the torch and you bring the jealousy, let's say that the dragon's name is jealousy, you bring the jealousy into the light of loving awareness, and you're able to name it and you're able to make friends with it, and you're able to talk to the dragon and say, hey, what's going on? Like, why do you feel like this? And by doing that, the dragon is no longer stumbling around in the dark, causing chaos in your life. And so when you bring these things into awareness, it's not going to sabotage your relationships anymore, because you're aware of it. And you can just say to yourself, you can sit with yourself and think, oh yeah, my partner's going out to the pub for a pint with a friend. Does that bring up feelings of jealousy? Maybe it does bring up feelings of jealousy for you. That's fine. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's also not something to put the responsibility of onto your partner, but it's just something to bring into awareness and say, yeah, I do feel jealous sometimes because I'm a little bit insecure. I really love my partner. I think they're amazing and I don't want them to leave me. And this is how meditation can be so useful. Mindfulness can be so useful, because it allows us to sit with our feelings and sit with our thoughts and just observe them without judgment, just listening to the stories, listening to the emotions that are coming up, feeling the emotions that are coming up. And in your shadow, you will find dragons, much like the dragon from Shrek. They're not bad, they're just misunderstood. And if they're stumbling around in the dark, I mean, you imagine the chaos and the damage that a dragon could cause if it's stumbling around in the dark because it can't see where it's going. and you can't see it either, so you can't even help it. So, and then the treasure that you find in the dark, which you can only find if you have the torch lit, can be things like even, you know, traditionally positive things. For me, one of these things was singing, performing in front of people, something that I really enjoy doing. And for a long time, that was in my shadow. I'd repressed that desire because I'd been taught that it was selfish, it was attention seeking, and all the rest. And so I pretended, because, you know, we're all trying to maintain this I'm a good person thing. I pretended that, well, I don't like performing in front of people. Well, I don't need the attention. But I love it. I love it. And I just started doing it recently, and it's so fulfilling, and it's so nice to share that with people. And as well, YouTube videos. I've wanted to make YouTube videos for literally the longest time ever. Did I do it? Intermittently. I never committed to it because I felt ashamed of it. Because it's like this cringe millennial thing to do. And yeah, I felt like it's something I should be ashamed of. So what did I do? I sabotaged myself. I pretended, lied to myself, deceived myself, and said, well, I don't care about, you know, YouTube. I don't want to make YouTube videos. Oh, it's just a stupid thing, you know. And when we have that kind of desire, we then end up sort of criticizing other people who are doing it and thinking, oh, you know, they're so attention seeking. When in reality, they're living out a desire that we have, but we've learned to be ashamed of it for whatever reason. So that is shadow work in a nutshell, using my castle theory that I've become quite fond of. I just like everything in a medieval setting, basically. Let me know if you want to hear more about that castle theory. It's something I have a lot to say about. I just find the visual, is that a metaphor? Is that what you would call it? Visual metaphor? I think that's what a visual metaphor is. I just find it so helpful to, even when you are meditating and things like that, to visualize it in that way. Like, you're stumbling around in the dark, you've got to light the torch, you've got to go and meet the dragon, befriend the dragon. You don't need to slay the dragon. You find the treasures, you can take those treasures back to the castle, you decorate the throne room, entertain guests, invest into the villagers and things like that. And really going into that cave and exploring the darkness like that enriches your whole life, because you're taking all those parts of yourself that you've been taught to reject and integrating them. And that is how we become whole as people. I don't know if you can ever be like 100% healed. I don't know if that's possible. I guess we can keep trying, can't we? But certainly you can feel more whole as a person. And all through my 20s, I tried to achieve that feeling of wholeness through relationships. Not good, as I'm sure you can imagine. Not good. And I would get into relationships with people who were also trying to achieve that feeling of wholeness by being in a relationship with me. Needless to say, that didn't go well for anyone involved. But you live and you learn, don't you? So yeah, that has been a big lesson for me, and it's just something I thought I would share with you. See if you find it interesting, see if you find it helpful. Anyway, let me know what you think, and if you'd like to hear more about that sort of thing, I would love to talk your ear off about it. So bye.